I'm Pikta, nice to meet ya. If you're new here, I'm an artist, and today I have created and completed my very own art challenge. Following Art Fight, I was feeling inspired to draw my own characters more, but couldn't find inspiration for how to draw them. My solution to this problem was to create a week-long art challenge to expand the type of art I could make for my OCs. I personally feel like month-long challenges are a bit intimidating, which is why this challenge is only 7 days long. The challenge was definitely catered to my interests and what I thought I could achieve, so if for a small chance you decide you also want to do the challenge, some of these prompts are a little specific. And although I doubt somebody will do this challenge, if you do, tag me, I want to see. I chose to mostly draw art for my characters in my story considering Calypso, so almost all of these characters are in the same universe, except for day 4, which was a little bit of a wild card, but you'll see that later. Okay, that's enough yammering. Let's talk about day 1 of my 7-day art challenge. The first prompt in the challenge is opposite aesthetics. This means drawing your character in clothes or a different vibe from what they're used to. I chose to draw my character Willow, who almost only wears the colors pink and white, in a scene and alternative inspired outfit. This is definitely not her aesthetic at all. I don't even think she'd like the style from an outside perspective. I did decide to keep pink in the outfit's color palette, but substituted the white she would typically wear with black. I did this so she would still be recognizable because I consider her clothing style pretty crucial to her design. Willow also has a flower motif in her outfit, so I snuck that into the hair bow and the pattern on her tights. With a few tweaks, Willow might actually consider wearing this, but as is, I made sure she looked nervous and uncomfortable. I decided I would make the drawing an interaction between her and another one of my characters, Oxar, so the drawing is supposed to show Oxar giving Willow a little bit of a makeover. I think Oxar would enjoy a scene aesthetic, but she definitely also picked the clothes to annoy Willow because they really don't get along. Let me know what you think of Willow's new look. Here's the finished drawing. The second prompt is in pajamas. This prompt is supposed to help you imagine your character and what they would wear to sleep. Maybe your character wears a matching set. Maybe they like sweatpants and a t-shirt. Maybe they wear a long cap, carry a candle around the house, and as they drift off, mutter the sounds. Or maybe they sleep nude. For this prompt, I chose my character Beezy because I figured whatever she wears to sleep would be super cute. I also kind of just wanted to draw her sleepy because I thought it would be silly with a hint of adorable. For Bee's sleepwear, I went with yellow with white lace and gave her super cute bunny slippers because she would so wear them. This drawing reminded me of the first to fall asleep at a sleepover trope, which definitely fits Bee because she is quite the sleepy gal canonically. I put her hair up how she wears it early in the story as I figured she'd want that large mass of hair out of her way. Let me know if you'd also wear this set of pajamas. I definitely would. Here's the finished drawing of a very sleepy Beezy. The third prompt is older or younger. This prompt is supposed to help you imagine your characters through different ages. Maybe you already have your character's backstory developed, you could draw them in a scene from it. Or perhaps view your character many years past their story when they're an adult or even an elder. In my case, my characters Beezy and Zipporah are actually childhood friends, which made my idea for this prompt come to me pretty quickly. I absolutely adore this drawing, they're actually so precious. I know I drew it, but Bee's mismatched socks and butterfly patches on her knees and overalls are the cutest things ever. Also, look at Zipporah's little stance, she's so polite. Overall, these two made me so maternal. I sure hope nothing bad ever happens to them. I don't have much to say about the designs of them younger, as Zipporah is royalty and did not have much say in what she would be wearing, so it's just a standard pretty dress in her kingdom's colors. And Beezy's personality was always pretty defined, and she was definitely expressive when she was younger, so her style is pretty similar, just more childish. Tell me this art doesn't make you love them at least a little bit. Well, I hope you at least love this drawing. Here's the finished piece. Prompt 4 is Character X Miku. This prompt means turn your character into a version of Hatsune Miku. I told you day 4 was a bit of a wild card. Looking back, this would have been sick to draw my character Oxar as, but instead I ruined the flow with the considering Calypso characters and drew my persona instead. This is literally the only drawing that isn't of characters in the same story. I don't know why I did this. Nevertheless, I actually think my persona lends itself well to Mikufication. Pikta's vest is already similar to most Hatsune Miku outfits, as well as the long socks and tattoos. Pikta also has a little bit of cyan in her hair, so honestly, maybe this was the best pick. I tweaked the design a little bit, turning the turtleneck she typically wears into a button-up and added a yellow tie. I also went ahead and gave her those sleeves Miku typically wears, with a little bit of a somewhat hexagonal yellow trim. I really put yellow trim on a lot of things, honestly. I of course had to add some pigtails, and instead of a honeycomb tattoo, added honeycomb hair accessories and gave Pika an O1 tattoo instead. I don't know if it's against Miku rules for it to not be red, but mine is blue, so Miku superfans, feel free to tear me apart in the comments. I think this drawing turned out pretty cute, and it's like the 11th addition to the Pika multiverse. Here's the finished Pika Miku. Prompt 5 is craft. I added this prompt so I could branch off and make something a little bit different from a drawing, and I think having physical media of your characters is similar to having merchandise of characters from games or shows. Like, if you did this challenge and decided to make a clay figure, that's basically a 100% genuine Mewtwo's, and your character is sold out as we speak. For my characters, I decided to make a flipper zine. I found a few tutorials on TikTok for this, and I thought it would be pretty cool to make myself. For this prompt, I drew my characters Zipporah, Beezy, Matthew, and Willow. I had them flip in pairs, so Zipporah and Beezy are close, and Matthew and Willow are close. I wish I could have put all 6 main characters in this craft, but as far as I'm aware, it's limited to 4 flips. This is also the only mention of my character Matthew in all 7 of these pieces, and he's only 1/4 of this prompt. Everyone show him some love, because I definitely did not. I really need to draw the boys more often. And I'm sorry I didn't record the process of me putting it together. That part honestly took me just as long as the drawings themselves, and was incredibly frustrating for someone with very little patience. I'd love to make a more polished one in the future, because these drawings are definitely not the highest quality, but for now, here's the finished zine. Prompt 6 is for Sona. This is meant to challenge you to draw your character as a furry or your furry character as a human. While it's a good chance to get outside your box for what you normally draw, I definitely added this prompt because I wanted practice drawing anthros. For this drawing, I went with a more simplistic character sheet look. I chose my character Asher because I figured he deserves more love. I chose to make Asher into a fox because he is quite sneaky and also sly, so I felt it fit his character best. I don't draw furries often, but I do think this turned out pretty okay for one of my first real jabs at drawing a full body. I decided to give Asher for Sona some fire fur patterns because that is definitely his motif. It's not really spoilers he's a pyromaniac, it's literally in his name. I went ahead and gave him his little hood he wears because the design was feeling a little empty without. I think he turned out cute, and low-key, if considering Calypso were to get popular, I can't say I wouldn't read a Werefox AU fanfic for him. And I hate reading. That little chibi I put in the drawing is art I already had, but I wanted there to be some indicator for who this random furry fox was. Here's my finished persona for my character Asher. The final prompt, number 7, is full scene. This is a challenge to draw out full scenes, which for a mainly character artist definitely tested my abilities. I tend to not draw backgrounds, so I was struggling with this drawing a little bit. This is where I have to admit, for this drawing, I did spend multiple days completing it. I was feeling a little bit of burnout from things outside of the art challenge, and the complexity of the drawing was very poorly timed. Anyways, about this drawing. This is a scene of something that happens at the beginning of the story between my characters Zipporah, Beezy, and an innkeeper named Andy. I think this scene would lend itself better to a comic book spread, but this drawing will suffice. I would like to work on seeing how I can better adapt backgrounds to my style, as I think it still looks a little off. I definitely need more practice, but this was a good start. I at least think the drawing captures the energy of the event, and I don't think the lighting is that awful. Let me know if this drawing intrigues you. It's definitely been one of my favorite things to write for these guys in recent time. Here is my final complete scene. Let me know which prompt was your favorite. Once again, if you do decide to partake in this little 7-day art challenge, I would love to see. If you don't decide to complete this challenge, I hope it at least maybe inspired you to draw your characters a new way. Creating this art definitely made me feel more connected to my characters, and I have more art to stare at and adore. As a reminder, videos like these do take a long time to make, so if you enjoyed it, you can show me some gratitude by liking, subscribing, or commenting. I've been Pika, hope to see ya another day.